All slots for AstraZeneca vaccines fully booked. First case of double mutant COVID-19 variant recorded in Malaysia. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. You're watching News at 10 with me. I'm Jessica Lee. All 268,000 slots for the AstraZeneca vaccines have been taken up in just over 3 hours after the registration was open to the public at 12 p.m. today. National COVID-19 Immunisation Programme, or PICK, Coordinating Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, who has been sharing updates on the registration process via his Twitter account, said those who are registered would receive appointment details on their MySejahtera app or SMS soon. The minister also revealed that the window to join the waiting list for the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine has been closed. Yesterday, Khairi said the AstraZeneca opt-in would be open to 268,000 people, initially on a first-click, first-served basis in the website for KL and Selangor residents, and the first appointment for the vaccination slots would be available on the 5th of May at designated vaccination centres, or PPV. The PPVs include University Malaya, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM, World Trade Center, Kuala Lumpur, and IDCC, Shah Alam. Khairi also reported as saying that the Special Committee on COVID-19 Vaccine Supply Access Guarantee, or JKJAV, will roll out the same initiatives in other states pending further deliveries of AstraZeneca vaccine. He noted that the government was also scheduled to receive 1 million more doses of AstraZeneca vaccine this month via the COVID-19 Vaccines Global Access, or COVAX. Now, the Health Ministry has sounded the alarm as the usage of critical and intensive care unit beds for treating COVID-19 patients in the Klang Valley has reached 90%. As of this morning, Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said, based on reports sent to the National Crisis Preparedness and Response Centre, 6 hospitals with the facility were found to have exceeded the alert threshold of bed utilisation rate of more than 70%. In a Facebook post, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said the 6 hospitals include the Sungai Buloh Hospital, Kuala Lumpur Hospital and Ampang Hospital. With some of them already approaching 100% capacity, he said elective surgeries and procedures in hospitals around Klang Valley would need to be reduced or postponed to enable more hospital beds to be reserved for treatment of COVID-19 patients. He said this will also enable the medical personnel to be mobilized to more critical places for the care of COVID-19 patients. The ministry will also continue to work with private hospitals, teaching staff or universities in the Klang Valley to increase the capacity of critical beds. According to the Health DG, the collaboration included outsourcing non-COVID-19 patients with certain cases and procedures for treatment at private hospitals, with the cost to be borne by the government at an agreed charge. Now, Sultan Johor, Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar, has expressed his concern about the critical COVID-19 situation as the number of cases showed no signs of decreasing, as several states, including Johor, have now become high-risk states. In a Facebook post, His Majesty said the dangerous attitude of taking the SOPs lightly and behaving as though the COVID-19 pandemic is already over will only burden the country's healthcare facilities. Sultan Ibrahim also called on all Johor residents to promptly register for the National COVID-19 Immunisation Programme, or PICK, and trust the advice given by the medical experts. His Majesty added that even after receiving vaccine jabs, the rakyat must not be complacent and continue adhering to the SOPs set by the government. The Johor ruler also hoped that enforcement agencies would take more stern and just actions against those who violated the stipulated SOPs. Malaysia has recorded its first case of the double mutant COVID-19 variant originating from India called B16171. Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Adham Baba said the variant was detected on an Indian national following a whole genome sequencing or WGS conducted after a screening was made at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA. Datuk Seri Dr. Adham explained that almost 60% of the COVID-19 infections in India involve the double mutant variant. It was first detected in India on the 27th of April, and report by Global Initiative on Sharing All Influenza Data found that the variant had spread to at least 17 countries worldwide 3 days later. The minister also said, based on the WGS report, which involved 59 more WGS that was conducted from the 24th of April to the 1st of May, authorities have identified several variants of concerns, or VOC. They include 27 cases of South African B1351 variant involving residents of Perak, Kelantan and Selangor, as well as 3 cases of UK B117 variant in Selangor and Sabah. To date, Malaysia has reported 48 cases of South African B1351, 8 cases of UK B117, 1 Indian variant B16171, and 2 Nigerian variant B1525. Malaysia's official virus tally nationwide reached 415,012 after another 3,418 cases were reported as at noon today. Now, this is an increase from yesterday's 2,881 infections, and the number of active cases now stands at 30,339. In a release statement, Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said 10 of the new infections were imported cases, while the remaining were local transmissions. Selangor reported the highest number of new cases at 1,200, followed by 587 cases in Sarawak and 400 in Kelantan. He said 345 patients are currently being treated in intensive care units, with 175 on ventilator support. Another 12 fatalities were reported in the last 24 hours, pushing the death toll to 1,533. The Health DG also said the total recovered cases rose to 383,140 after another 2,698 patients fully recovered and discharged from hospitals. Meanwhile, the Health Ministry identified 11 new clusters while declaring the end for 10 others. This brings the number of clusters registered so far to 1,680, with 396 of them being active. The government has agreed to terminate Movement Control Order or MCO enforcement in Endau and Triang, Mersing, Johor tomorrow as scheduled. The Senior Minister for Security, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, in a statement said throughout the MCO period, only 3 positive COVID-19 cases were recorded in the area. He said the Health Ministry has confirmed that there was a declining trend of infections in the area. Meanwhile, the enhanced MCO in Sekolah Menengah Ugama Arab Tarbiyah Dinia Tafiz Bunut Sarang Burong in Tumpat, Kelantan was terminated today, 11 days earlier than scheduled. He said a total of 181 individuals tested positive for the virus out of 329 tests conducted in the area. Up next, 25,000 ringgit compounds issued to nightclub owners in Georgetown, Pulau Pinang. The Pulau Pinang Police Contingent has raided and issued 25,000 ringgit of compounds to 2 owners of nightclubs in Lebuh Pantai, Georgetown, Pulau Pinang early this morning for operating during conditional MCO period. Now, Timur Laut Police Chief ACP Sofian Santong said other than ordering closure on the nightclubs, police also issued compounds to 26 individuals totaling 130,000 ringgit.
Okey, alasan-alasan yang diberikan, mereka masih lagi mengatakan tidak mengetahui tentang SOP yang telah dikeluarkan oleh kerajaan. Sedangkan SOP ini telah, saya ingat, sudah hampir setahun seramai 26 orang pelanggan telah dikompaun di bawah peraturan 19 bracket 2 dan bagi pemilik premis kita kompaun di bawah peraturan 19 bracket 2 yang mana bagi kesalahan pemilik premis ini kita telah mengenakan kompaun sebanyak RM25,000 dan bagi pelanggan setiap seorang dikenakan kompaun sebanyak RM5,000. Jadi jumlah keseluruhan kompaun yang dikeluarkan malam ini adalah berjumlah RM180,000.
A factory supervisor died after he fell from the 14th floor of a rented apartment unit at Jalan Tanjung Tokong in Georgetown early this morning. In the 1:38 a.m. incident, the victim was found laying on his back on the 5th floor of the building. Timor Laos District Police Chief ACP Sofian Santong, when met, said the 26-year-old victim died at the scene inside a landscape pond on level 5 of the building due to severe injuries. The victim's remains were sent to Pulau Pinang Hospital for a post-mortem. Initial investigation revealed that the deceased and 8 of his friends had checked into the apartment unit at about 4:30 p.m. yesterday for a gathering and entertainment in conjunction with the Labor Day weekend. They had rented the unit for a day for 200 ringgit. The deceased, who was believed to be intoxicated and unstable, had climbed the wall of a corridor to get to a 5-foot way where his friend was having a smoke. Due to his condition, the deceased slipped, fell below, and landed on level 5. ACP Sofian said following investigation, police found no foul play at the scene. Checks on the victim's body also did not find any suspicious injuries. The case has been classified as sudden death, and the victim's friends were taken to Timor Laos District Police Headquarters for further investigations. A 16-year-old boy drowned during a fishing trip with his uncle in the waters of Port Dickson yesterday. Fire and Rescue Department's Senior Superintendent 2, Jelani Ahad, said the boy's body was found by the Teluk Kemang and Jempol Water Rescue Units, or PPDA, at about midday today near the Kuala Lukut Kecil Jetty. The victim, Yu Prakash, was found floating about 50 meters from the spot he was reported to have fallen overboard. The boy was wearing only a pair of shorts.
Mangsa adalah dikatakan menjaring ikan bersama bapa saudaranya dan terjatuh ke dalam laut. Jadi usaha pencarian telah dilaksanakan pada 1 hari bulan 5 semalam sehinggalah pada jam lebih kurang 13.10 mangsa telah dijumpai.
A total of 26 firemen were dispatched to the scene in 4 rescue boats and 4 kayaks soon after receiving a report from the victim's uncle, M. Narayanasamy, who was in the boat with the boy when the incident happened at 6:15 p.m. The boy fell overboard while they were on their way back to the jetty. Coming up in the sports segment, remainder of Malaysian Football League to continue despite MCO. Now, the remaining matches of the Malaysian Football League, or MFL, would go on as usual, even though the government might have to enforce a new Movement Control Order, or MCO, soon. Now, Youth and Sports Minister Datuk Sri Rizal Nain American said this was because the MFL and several other tournaments, such as the Malaysian Hockey League, MHL, and the Sepak Takraw League, STL, had been given approval by the National Security Council, MKN, under the previous MCO implementation. He said all the players and coaches are in the sports bubble model and there is no violation of the MCO. The only difference is if there is an MCO, matches during the period will not be attended by spectators.
Kejohanan MFL ni berada dalam gelembung sukan berdasarkan kepada camp-based approach dan juga home-based approach. Maknanya semua pemain, jurulatih, mereka adalah di kalangan yang berada dalam sport bubble dan setakat ini tidak ada breach. Dan kalau seandainya berlaku PKP sebagaimana yang kalau ada lah, saya tak tahu bila ni, maka kejohanan MFL akan diteruskan.
In addition, spectators have been allowed to watch Malaysia League matches at stadiums starting 6th of April in accordance with strict monitoring and compliance with the Standard Operating Procedures or SOPs at stadium venues. Datuk Sri Rizal Merakan said this when met by reporters in Bayan Lepas, Pulau Pinang today. Now, the Super League match between Kedah Darul Aman KDA FC and Johor Darul Takzim JDT at Stadium Darul Aman in Alustar on Tuesday will be played in an empty stadium. The decision was made due to the enforcement of the Movement Control Order or MCO. Malaysian Football League or MFL Chief Executive Officer Dato' Abdul Ghani Hassan said MFL would tighten health and safety protocols by reactivating the Standard Operating Procedures or SOPs for organising matches without spectators in MCO areas. Now, this includes raising the level of discipline for a sports bubble involving officials and players of both teams, apart from requiring RTK antigen tests for match officials and personnel to be done one day before or on match day. Dato' Abdul Ghani in a statement said the SOPs has been activated for the period of MCO enforcement until new developments are announced by the government later. He also hoped that all parties involved will continue to abide by the SOPs set for the sake of their own safety and health, as well as the smooth running of this season's Malaysia League. The government decided to enforce the MCO in 5 districts in Kedah, Kota Star, Kuala Muda, Bandar Baru, Baling and Kulim for 2 weeks beginning today following a rise in COVID-19 cases in these places. MFL said tickets already sold for Tuesday's match would be refunded by Ticket Hotline International. Still on football news, newcomers Penang FC recorded their biggest win of the 2021 Super League season when they hammered hosts Terengganu FC or TFC 4-1 at the Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin Stadium in Kuala Terengganu last night and extend their unbeaten record to 9 matches. The last time Penang FC, last season's Premier League champions, lost was when they travelled to the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium in Iskandar Puteri to face reigning Super League champions Johor Darul Takzim JDT in early March. The Panthers, coached by Thomas Trucha, stunned TFC with 2 first-half goals through Tajikistan import Sheridin Boboev in the 8th minute and skipper Endrick Dos Santos in the 21st minute. Although TFC's Muhammad Hakimi Abdullah narrowed the deficit with a left-footed shot from outside the box in the 59th minute, there was nothing the Turtles could do to stop Penang FC striker Anselmo Aruda da Silva from notching a brace in the 65th and 68th minutes. The win allowed Penang FC to leapfrog over TFC into 3rd spot in the 12-team Super League standings with 22 points, while the Turtles dropped to 4th with 21 points. Over in Kuantan, Sri Pahang FC finally found their goal-scoring touch after 6 dismal performances when they thrashed basement side UITM FC 5-0 at the Darul Makmur Stadium. The Elephants, as Sri Pahang FC are known, led 2-0 in the first half thanks to a quick goal after just 50 seconds from Lee Tak before Pedro Henrique added the second in the 34th minute. Muhammad Bakiuddin Samsudin and Harold Goulon got their names on the score sheet as well for Sri Pahang FC in the second half before an own goal by Fahmi Sabri made it a night to remember for coach Dola Saleh's men. However, the win failed to get Sri Pahang FC out from the drop zone as they are still in 11th spot with 8 points, just 1 below 10th place Perak FC. Now, UITM FC continue to prop up the standings with just 1 point. And that's it for this edition of News at 10. In our top story, all slots for AstraZeneca vaccine fully booked. Join us for more updates at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. I'm Jessica Lee. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and have a good night.